find your mentors, find the people who are going to absolutely support and coach you. You only need three people in life. Somebody who's going the way you want to go or done what you want to do. Find that person, and you probably need a couple of them because some of them might have just got lucky. You need somebody who is so...
You are now listening to the highlight reel builder for authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, best-selling author of the book Stay the Course, and Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member, DomBrightmon. And you're going to be getting some tips and techniques to advance yourself up next. Today's review highlight comes from a past guest who's now a listener, another convert, Shiva Kumar, and he left a 5-star review titled Pizza, Tennis, Life, and of course, the book. I love the free-ranging nature of the podcast. Dom is engaging, friendly, funny, and very approachable with a unique sense of humor while being very perceptive, picking up on subtle cues to move the conversation in an interesting and unexpected directions. He really takes the time to pull back the curtain, allowing the subject to share a fuller sense of their personality, motivations, philosophy, and what makes them unique. Highly recommend Going North and DomBrightmon. And thanks a bunch for leaving that 5-star review. And if you listening right now want to be featured on the podcast for your review, head over to goingnorthpodcast.com and leave a review just like my man Shiva Kumar did. And check out his interview in the show notes as well for bonus brownie points indeed. Now let's get on with the content. And today on the highlight reel builder for authors known as GNP, the great, glorious, and glamorous is the Going North podcast, baby. We got one heck of a super special guest for you today for the 600th official episode of the podcast. Like, my goodness, most folks don't even make it to 60, let alone 6. But today we got episode 600. We got one heck of a guest for you today to celebrate the occasion, because today's international superstar, baby, is a best-selling author, a father, husband, sales expert, a poet, and the founder and chief executive of Inc., a global travel media company. And dance, let's give it up for the S and the L, the sensational and legendary Simon Leslie. How you doing today, Simon?
600, man. That is superb. That sensational on you too. It's very nice to be here, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you today and sharing some nuggets.
Oh yeah, that's right, indeed. Some nuggets indeed. That's right, indeed, because our man's been through adversity and has come out as a shinier diamond than ever. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, since your first ever time on the show, we may have some folks who pop in and occasionally live under rocks. So, mind filling us a bit in on your backstory and how you got to become a wonderful business owner of Inc. Global?
Well, through a lot of adversity, I guess. 30, 20... I don't know. It's too many years, nearly 3 decades. And, before that, I had sort of 3 or 4 failures. So it did take me a little bit of time to get it right. And even this business has been through every single bit of turmoil that life could throw at it. 9/11, 2008, 2012, our own stupidity in 2014. And then along comes this pesky pandemic, and really, that was the worst of them all. That took everything else, times it by 10, and then, attack.
Oh yeah, you can see that again. I can't believe I haven't heard those two words together, pesky pandemic, because yes, it definitely is a darn pesky pandemic, because if I'm not mistaken, it was $150 million the company lost thanks to the darn pandemic.
Well, we were on target for $150 million in 2020, and we gave back 10. So it was a painful turnaround, and the exciting thing, and I guess I keep looking forward. I can't keep looking back for too long. I've told this story so many times. I'm bored of the story now at sometimes, but it's a really exciting adventure through finding out so much about yourself, about your people, about your team, about business, what's possible and what's not possible. There's so many people out there who believe things aren't possible. It's impossible until somebody does it. And then once somebody does it, everything is possible. And I've always had Roger Bannister as an inspiration for me. The first guy that broke the 4 minute mile, and you know, I just thought, well, he defied logic, and why shouldn't I? And that's always been my mantra: just keep defying logic. And I use this one word, which is actually two words, but it's nonsense. It doesn't have to make sense. It's nonsense. If things make too much sense, I get a bit worried. Actually, I get a little bit. Oh, things are going too good, or that seems to add up. And, I like things that don't make sense. I like to challenge status quo, as they say in America. I like to challenge how far I can push the boundaries and make things happen.
Uh, Amen to that. Amen to that, man. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Heck, even pushing the boundaries and the limits. If I'm not mistaken, your creativity actually came out of the darn pandemic, if I'm not mistaken, right? As a poet and motivational poet.
Yeah, I mean that was who knew, eh? This is a kid who got chucked out of school at 16 with zero very few qualifications, and now I've for 630 odd days, done nearly as many more episodes and more poems than you. Every day for the last 630 days, I've posted a poem. It's also about discipline. It's not just about the poem, but it's the discipline of like you keep doing the episodes, keep doing it you never know who's listening. You never know who you might inspire. And, those poems go far and wide, and I get amazing comments from all over the world. And it's just been a cathartic experience for me. I mean, just allowing my creativity to come. Again, Equanimity is my fourth book. This again, I just find it fascinating that I could write 4 books and not only write them, but people are going out there and buying it and sharing it and telling me it's the best book they've read this year. It still blows my mind.
Hey, makes sense indeed. Makes sense indeed. Because usually like to say when folks publish a book of their own, it's usually them joining the business of immortality because they get to leave a piece of themselves that gets to live long after they're gone, at least in this form anyway.
No, I agree. I mean, definitely the first book it took me about 2 weeks to write it and about 7 months to publish it, because I was like, there's a lot of personal stuff in here. I don't sure I want to write it. And I published it in September 19, and it was called There Is No F in Sales. And it was, based on the theory that most days there's not sell, we don't sell every day. But you've got to be very careful what you put down on paper, because within 6 months, we'd gone from 150 million to zero, and there were no F in sales. So there you go. Talk about bringing it to life.
That is true. Like the whole saying, be careful what you wish for because it might come true.
Exactly. It bloody well does. It really does.
That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness, so there's no efforts. And if I'm not mistaken, that book, the proceeds from that goes to charities, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's right. And the mad thing is somebody's promoting it somewhere, because I've sold more copies of that book this month than the new one. And every penny, dollar, cent, dime goes to Beam, which is a charity that helps the homeless get back into work. So they crowdfund. It's a tech company that crowdfunds for homeless people, refugees, I think ex-military as well, and they help them get back into work. And they've helped so many people, and it's an amazing cause, and I'm proud to support it. So as long as people keep buying it, I'll keep sending them the money.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So my goodness, so there's that powerful book, and then Equanimity, and got through about a good halfway through the audiobook, and I was actually surprised because one of our past guests, Shannon Huffman Paulson, was actually featured in that book as one of the speakers that you took notes from to help you and your company get back to where they need to be.
Yeah, I love Shannon. First lady to fly the Apache, and she told us her story. She told her story of grit. And she was one of the first speakers I had, and in the end, I had 50 speakers, so there's 50 stories in there for you to dissect through. And each one of those stories, I brought these people in to support my team. That was the only thing that I felt I could do during this period, was to inspire them. So, I treated it as off season, right? We're off season. We're going to train. We're going to get inspiration, and then when the season starts again, we're ready to go. If I knew it was going to be nearly 2 years, I probably would have played a different game. But as it happens, what happened really was these guys not only were inspiring the team, but they started to give me visions and ideas and ways that I wanted to live, the ways I wanted the business to become, how I wanted the business to come out of this. And, that just her story of grit and determination and fighting against um, you know, challenging bosses, let's say, and just the army in general. It was just kept reminding me that anything is possible, and you don't have to accept no. You can keep going. You can keep pushing, and that was sort of gave me the ammunition I needed to fight the fight and get back in the game.
Amen to that. Amen to that. That's right, indeed. And I believe the company fought back with, I think it was a new digital app, if I'm not mistaken, or a new way to actually look at the magazines or something like that.
So we went in. We had 36 magazines, and we came out and we've got three. So we had to reinvent ourselves. 90% of our revenues was in magazines. We acquired a small digital business which allowed us to retarget airline passengers, something that wouldn't have been possible during normal trading because they were too busy and they didn't care. But they were, their ITs were down a little bit and had some time, so we managed to get this technology live on, which is now 15 airlines, and from there we started building other products. Now today we have the most amazing TV network at all the airports in the US called Reach TV. That's grown because CNN decided to leave the airport, and we took advantage of that. Um, we now help. This is my proudest accolade, I think, in all of these things. I mean, the retargeting, the TV was good, but the thing that I'm really proud about is today we're helping give free Wi-Fi both at the airports and in flight. We help brands get their message across to their customers, and we give consumers free Wi-Fi in flight. So I spent 6 flights in the US last month or this month, and I used the free Wi-Fi because of it, and I'm really pleased. It's probably saved me about $100.
Sweet, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So ever growing, ever changing, and getting better and not butter. You love to see it. That's right, indeed.
Always
That's right.
getting better.
Oh yeah, that's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So my goodness, so if I'm not mistaken, with this new found advantage to really keep the company alive and keeping growing strong and growing better, you actually like to live out your childhood daily, if I'm not mistaken, by at least keeping fun in your life.
If it's not fun, it's not worth doing. I'm a proponent of having as much fun as we can, making sure that we're doing lots of adventures as a team, that we're seeing all parts of the world. I mean, last week we had a team in Mallorca, and they were doing rope swings off the rocks, and they were hanging out, they were playing like kids. And another team who were in Vegas, again, just goofing around and enjoying themselves. And I just think it's the way business should be. It shouldn't be stuffy. It shouldn't be stupid. It shouldn't be too much bureaucracy and red tape. I want people to come to work and enjoy coming to work. That comes with its challenges as well, Dom. People abuse it. People take advantage of it. We have a lot of young people who still think they're at university and still think they can behave in a certain way. So it's good and it's bad. Until somebody pulls me away and says, you ain't doing this anymore, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep having fun. I'm going to keep giving people a good time at work and give them opportunities to live out their dreams and do crazy stuff.
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. You love to see it, indeed. Because you led, I believe, 9 of your team at your company to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, too, right? As part of one of
I
the fun
did.
activities.
That was fun. Well, it wasn't fun at all. It was horrible, but it was. Look, I can look back on it now and go, yeah, that was fun. That was amazing achievement. But actually, climbing was horrible. But yeah, we had a time. We had an adventure. And the last night, well, it was the last. The problem is, right? They tell you that the climb is going to be tough towards the end. What they also don't tell you is it's going to be horrible coming down. So you put all your energy to getting
Yep.
up to the top, and then you think, "Crikey, I've got to get down now." And it started to rain as we got to the bottom, and it was like, how can you be any more miserable? You're exhausted. You haven't slept for 24 hours. It's freezing. Then it's hot, and then it starts raining, and you just go, "Oh, I can't take any more of this," and I've got to walk 2 kilometers with a backpack to my tent, which I've got to put up in the rain, which means everything's going to get soaked. So, but it was honestly, um, I have the certificate on the inside of my wardrobe, and every morning I look at that certificate and I go, "That was an amazing achievement. It really was."
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, my goodness, she did a boatload of podcast interviews, period, and been asked all sorts of questions. So, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're on these interviews?
I knew you were going to ask me that question, and I still can't think of a question that I want you to ask. Um, let me think, because I want to really challenge myself with a really difficult question. Who is the one person who's upset you that you'd like to say something to? How's that for a question?
So, is that a question you're willing to answer on air?
I don't know how much profanity I'm allowed to say. No, but it's a really interesting place to go in my head, because the people who really did let me down, and people who either crossed me, or I think the worst one was a very good friend of mine. I was just starting out in business very early on, and he was on his knees, and I'd give him a job, and he was all right. Did a good job. He got to travel. He got to do, he learned to snowboard because we'd go on trips, and I'd take him on trips, and he'd never snowboarded before, and he learned to snowboard, and he got a passion for it. He then inherited £25,000, which is probably about $40,000 at that time. I'm talking about, this is in the sort of late 90s. He literally said, "You can stuff your bloody job. I don't need you anymore," and walked out. And I went, "Oh, all right, thanks very much." So that still bothers me to this day, as somebody who I just think, you know, and he went on to do a snowball magazine, and I don't know. I don't think he ever became very successful, but it does leave scars when people, when you really do look after people, and you really do feel like, they let you down. And, during the pandemic, it wasn't sort of the same. A lot of people left. I probably had 120, 130 people leave, and a lot of these people have been with me over a decade. And I didn't blame them. I couldn't blame them, because I couldn't give them the opportunity to make a living. So that was hard as well. Those were some of the hardest moments, where people, have to leave. You can do it nicely, and you can do it horribly.
Yeah, that's true indeed. That's definitely true indeed. And actually, sometimes it's probably even better if certain folks leave, because if that guy actually was like that when he left, he was probably plotting his escape the whole time. And my goodness, it might. Who knows? Because if I'm not mistaken, he probably had more growth after he left.
Oh yeah, we were tiny then. There was only about 6 or 7 of us in the company, and it was when we were just starting. But I just think, you know, all right, you've inherited some money. Say thank you for the opportunity, and I'm going to go and stand on my own. It was just the attitude, and the the ungratefulness. Gratitude's a very important thing, as you'll see as you read the book. I talk about gratitude a lot, and I really appreciate the things that people do to help. And I've always been I've been very vocal over the last year or so to say to people, if you need help, just reach out. I will help you, or I'll point you in the right direction if I can't help you. Because those 50 guys and gals who came in and supported me helped me when I had no choice, and I was on my knees. And I've committed that I will always help as many people as I can going forward. And I've always believed that. It's always been my mantra. I need to leave people better than I find them, and that's my commitment to life. And hopefully at some point, well, when I'm no longer here, people will talk about me fondly. Certainly with the F word.
That's right. In this case, the F word will be fun.
Fun, fondly, and fabulous.
Sweet. Heck, with you talking about that, that actually lets this question, funny enough, I rarely even ask it. So, my goodness, so 100 years from now, long after you're gone, what do you hope folks will find about you?
I hope that some of my philosophies and some of my thinking, some of my ideas for running a business will keep going. I think the world goes around in circles, and now we seem to be adopting the 70s again. We're into high inflation, high interest rates, strikes. Um, what I can't remember what's next, flares and sort of long sideboards. So maybe they'll come back and they'll go, do you know what? That the way that guy ran his business, that was unusual and it was different. I had Simon Sinek. He came in and he was sort of curious about what we were doing. Um, Cranfield University, Oxford University. I talked to both their media studies groups, and they were like, how do you do what you do? And I think people will dissect what we've done over the years, and they've come to their own conclusions. I was told your way will work, but it only works to 5 million. It won't work when you get to 10. So when I get to 10, they say, well, it won't work when you get to 30. Well, it won't work when you get to 50. And that just kept going up and proving them wrong. So the more I guess the lasting memory is, don't let people tell you what you can do. They'll tell you what they can't do or what they think they can't do, not what you can't do. You can do whatever you want to do. You can be whoever you want to be. And it's just a decision. It really is nothing more than that. You decide to what you want to be, who you want to be, where you want to be, who you want to spend your time with. And if you do that, nothing's going to stop you. It really isn't. You can find people like me all over the world who will help you, who will inspire you, who will coach you, might invest in you if your idea is good enough. Anything is possible. And there's people who do the same thing in trading or in other businesses in property, where you can learn from the best, and you can go and do your own thing, and that's really powerful, I think.
Ah, powerful indeed, powerful indeed. That's right indeed. Keep proving them wrong, y'all. That's right indeed. Keep proving them wrong,
I do my
indeed.
best.
That's right indeed. So my goodness, got two more questions for you, and then you get to make a run for it. So this wonderful book, Equanimity, yes indeed. So if that book itself was a food, what would it be and why?
Oh, I think it'd be a bento box. Lots of little flavors with lots of tasting from different types of food, or it'd be one of those sort of gourmet 12-course meals, where you get a different with a different pairing of wines and and flavors with each course, because I think there's so much information in there. There's so many different ideas, different concepts, and I think the only thing you can do is grow from reading it. You'll just become better at it. I had a message this morning from a guy my age who I know reasonably well, and he said, "This is the best book I've read this year." And then another one, literally within two DMs of each other, I'm listening to it for the second time. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So it's really powerful. It's an amuse bouche of flavors.
That's right indeed, because it is a lot of flavor indeed. That's right indeed, a lot of flavor indeed. That's right indeed, especially when to get that fire started in your life indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. First one to say bento box too. Can't believe it. I've been loving this question.
That's funny.
That's right indeed. So my goodness, coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is, if you were to wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but you're still in 2022, what advice would you give to yourself?
I mean, it's the same advice I give to my 23-year-old now, and I'm very lucky to be working with him. and watching him grow. He's like taking my learnings and taking them to a whole new level. Whatever I've done, he's achieved more. He was in campaign this week as one to watch. I never achieved that, so that's an amazing achievement. Just find the right people. Ask really good questions. We were chatting last night, and he said to me, I keep asking them, they don't have the answer, or they're not thinking for themselves. And I said, well, why is that? And he said, because I'm probably thinking for them. I said, okay, so you're going to change your question. Your question has got to change, and it's got to be, what do you think? And you keep asking that till you get the answer you want. And you know, we all have a habit of trying to fix stuff and do stuff for everybody, when really, we've got to get them thinking and doing for themselves. And if we do that, then it's amazing. The advice I would give any 25-year-old today would be, find your mentors. Find the people who are going to absolutely support and coach you. You only need three people in life. Somebody who's going the way you want to go, or done what you want to do. Find that person, and you probably need a couple of them, because some of them might have just got lucky. You need somebody who is so inspired and motivated and excited for you and your projects and your journey, that they will help you and coach you. And they, you sometimes you'll be ahead, sometimes you'll be behind, but you'll really, you'll bounce off each other when you're feeling down. And then you need somebody with a bit of grey hair, and who's going to give you the calmness, the wisdom, the gratitude, the appreciation, and all the kind, soft skills that you might be lacking. Somebody who's just a nice, genuine human being, who can just help you to just see or navigate your way through life's rough waters, as it were.
There we go. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That good stuff right there indeed. That's right indeed. So true. Gotta have those mentors indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. Someone to push you, someone to help you reach even higher, and someone to give you some of that good wisdom. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. You just gotta make sure they have that gray hair. That's right indeed. That's a sign of wisdom. That's right indeed. A sign of survival too. That's right indeed.
100%.
That's right indeed. Well, my
I
man
call I
Simon.
called the I called the sorry, Dom. I called the people who wrote in the book my superheroes. And you need to find your superheroes, because when I called 52 people, and 50 said yes. The two that said no, they're pretty vocal on social media, telling people that you need to help. Um, but they have their own problems at that time, and that's the way it goes, right? But the 50 people that came out and helped me and were so kind, they're my superheroes. They're the people who will do anything I can to support and and help, and create ways to say thank you and show my appreciation. And that's what life's all about, right? You've got to just appreciate every day, do your very best, and it'll turn out all right.
Uh, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. Find a superhero, y'all. That's right indeed. Find a superhero. My man Simon found 50 of them, baby. That's right indeed. A nice, beautiful, even number, baby. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. You can read all about these superheroes from his book Equanimity indeed, and be sure to cop his other books as well, especially since charity is involved. So folks get that help they need. So my goodness, so for those who need to keep in contact with you and follow you in your journey, Simon, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Track me down on LinkedIn and on Instagram. I share my roundup every month. So tonight you're going to get September's roundup. Tell you all the things that I'm doing, because I'm sticking to a promise that when I came out of this pandemic, there was no looking back. I was going to have an adventure. I've been on 8 flights this month. I've done 7 podcasts. I've done three talks. So I'm back. I'm back in the game. Smoked way too many cigars, drank way too much rum, done way too many press ups. But it's a good old time. And this week I've been sick in bed as well, so I've obviously pushed the needle a bit too far.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's the power of sickness. It's like, oh crap, I like going so fast. Bed's like, nope, you're gonna be in the bed, buddy. Like, take it. Time to pause a little bit.
it should be, right? You should go so fast that you crash, and you have to slow it down a little bit. But let's go that far. Let's go right to the edge. Let's not just trot through life. Let's race through life and enjoy it. And every now and again, you need to have a service and a pit stop and take it easy. But if you're going fast, let everyone else keep up with you.
Ah, yeah. That's right indeed. And some of them might actually appreciate it. Some of them. That's right indeed. Well, you heard.
A lot do.
Oh, that's good then. That's good. That's really good. It's even better indeed. So my goodness, so you heard them right, folks. Follow them on the LinkedIns and follow them on Instagram as well for that good content indeed. That's right indeed. The roundups are definitely good. It's better than bug spray, y'all. It's the good stuff. The true roundup. The September roundup indeed. We're going to put a link to all of his wonderful stuff in the show notes as well. So any parting words before we close up shop, Simon?
No, I just want to say thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I hope we've inspired a few people and give them a few ideas. And if not, shout out and ask for more. And keep in touch. Keep in touch. And thank you for working with me in my cough.
Thanks a bunch for tuning in and setting aside some of your time to listen to this wonderful podcast going north. If you really enjoyed what you heard, do me a solid and share this with your network and someone that you care about that would get something out of it too. And be sure to subscribe to hear more, and heck, even check out the backlog if you would like, because there are hundreds of episodes to choose from, and they just keep getting better and not butter.